Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel gyaaniPARAM. Investing is one of my hobbies and I'm really passionate about that. I love reading about the stock market and being up to date with what's going on. It helps me gain knowledge and also earn some extra money as well. I wanted to bring to you success stories of people who have made it into the markets, but with a twist. I will cover success stories of people who made it by getting the app knowledge which is required into the stock market. One such story is about Karan Gulati. He's famously called that Sikh investor. His knowledge about technical analysis, we will see in this particular video how he was able to achieve that. He is very fond of reading tons of books, which is a key takeaway for myself as well. Plus, he's a fitness enthusiast. So let's hear from the man itself, Karan Gulati. So hi Karan, welcome to my channel gyaaniPARAM. Thanks for joining in and taking time out today on a Saturday. I know it's been hectic for you for the past week or so, plus your hard challenge is also going on, but thanks a ton for taking your time today with us.
Not at all. I'm very happy to be here, man.
So before we start and start with the Q&A, Karan, right? Just a brief background about yourself, who Karan is, what does Karan do? So that would be helpful for viewers to understand a bit of your profile.
Well, so about me, I've been born and brought up in Dehradun. And I come from a very simple family, I'd say, simple values. We appreciate family time a lot, right? The way I think most of us have been brought up. So my childhood has not been anything exceptional. I went to a boarding school here, which was a great experience. After that, I went to DU for a year, but I felt like it wasn't my scene. I went to Kirodimal, right, in North Delhi, North Campus, and I thought it wasn't my scene. So I gave the CLAT. I got through NLU Cuttack. Again, I didn't want to go there because these NLUs tend to be outside the city, at the periphery at least. And there's a total hierarchy there. So if you have seniors, you gotta call them bhaiya or sir. And that is something that I wasn't exposed to in my boarding school. And I certainly did not want to sign up for that. So I settled for Symbiosis Pune, SLS Pune, which happened to be a marvelous decision. And post that, I came back home, and now I wanted to practice in the courts, in the high courts, not in the district courts, because there's a ton of Hindi there. I'm very fluent with Hindi, but I can't write it and read it, especially when it comes to legalese. So I knew I had to go to high courts. So options were Delhi or Chandigarh. I don't want Delhi because of the traffic, the pollution, the standard of living, the congested homes. So I settled for Chandigarh, which was again a brilliant decision. I found an amazing boss. I worked for 2 years. Right before COVID, I quit my job. The plan was not to quit law entirely. I had just come home because of the lockdown. It was a sabbatical, but eventually I got into trading. I've been investing for a while. I've been investing since college days. So I would say since 2011 or 12.
That's quite long, right?
Yeah, but honestly, I was just parking money randomly. I would read one book, whatever it said, I'd execute it. So that's how I've done it. And I'm very grateful to my parents. Now, I think this is where a major difference gets created, is the ways the stock market is talked about at your house. Because if your parents believe, if your uncles believe that the stock market is a gamble and what you're doing is entirely useless, they're going to kill your energy. They're going to really dull your vibe. And you've got to be really headstrong to counter all that negativity. At my end, my father had made some money in the stock market, had lost some money in the stock market, had some ITC and Lupin, which did really well. So he knew that, okay, this is somewhere money can be made. You just got to know what you're doing. And that's energy I started with. And I think that made all the difference. So I think I would give massive credit to my father and my mother, my parents, basically.
No, definitely. It's something, and especially you spoke about family when you started, right? That you're very closely connected with them. Same goes for myself as well, right? If stock market is not spoken about very positively in your family, again, coming back from in our background, especially, right? There are so many things which happen, and stock market is one of them. People love to talk about it. People who have invested, they can share their experience. Mostly I've heard negative as well from uncles and aunts from their experience, because education is something people just blindly do like trades or hear something on the TV. Luckily on my end as well, I had a mentor at home. Itself, my brother was very. He's still he's into the same industry. He's into mutual funds, so he has guided us quite a lot, and he changed the perception about investing in our core family plus our relatives as well. So that plays a very critical part. I would say so. It's a wonderful thought that you moved away from law. It takes. I know you would have studied hours and hours to get that qualification. And then COVID happened. COVID changed a lot of things. We stayed at home. Then you picked up investing full-fledged seriously, right? Not like reading book and so
I would say I picked
journey,
up trading full time. I picked up technical analysis, and a lot of people say technical analysis is astrology for men, you know. So I wanted to get to the bottom of this. Firstly, does it work? And because I wasn't thinking, oh, I'm wasting my time. Oh, I can't waste a year. I'm like, no, let me just focus on this and tune out the noise. And I have come to the conclusion that, and it's not surprising, that it does work.
Yeah.
There are some legendary traders around the world, and even big institutional money investors, they use charts to buttress their fundamental decisions. A company can be fundamentally so very strong, but technically, if it's weak, it's going to remain so for a while.
Yeah.
So I realized it does work. And then I read and heard podcasts, not really podcasts, but YouTube videos where they had a fundamental techno approach. So you combine the two. And I think that is a beautiful amalgamation. And I'm thoroughly convinced that technical analysis does work. And I really hope to see more Indians getting into this. Indians like to play it very safe.
Yeah.
You see so many traders who are posting regularly on Twitter as well. And I follow a few of them. So many of them, their parents are like, okay, you want to be a trader? No problem. But in India, that's a strict no. So exactly. I hope that we can inspire the next generation to come up and say, oh, you know, that guy made it. So I want to have a shot at it. And I think that would be just beautiful.
Trading is sort of a taboo also, right? Especially when it comes to marriage. I've heard a couple of my friends, they are into like full-time trading and stuff, right? I hear the stories when they were getting married and people were like, what do you do apart from trading? And they were like, I just do this. So either you get your daughter married or not, but learning is very important.
I have the best of both worlds. No one wants to marry a trader. No one wants to marry a lawyer. I'm both of them. So you know, the only thing I could add to be even more suitable is become a police officer. Then probably don't get any girl to marry. So it is what it is, man.
No, I totally agree. But I love the fact that you just didn't blindly jump into trading, right? You actually spend some time in learning technical analysis. Just for beginners, Karan, right? Do you think it takes a lot of time or you can easily pick up technical analysis? What mindset you really need to have in this genre?
I think I have a few thoughts on the mindset you need to approach this with. Something, firstly, is no matter what you do in life, whether you're a surgeon or a teacher or a lawyer, I think the stock market is something that you should be aware about. And not aware in the sense, oh, I know what Nifty is, I know what mutual funds are, but really have an understanding of what moves stocks. I think this is something so essential for everybody, no matter who you are. And secondly, when people are starting out, the mindset they should have is you're not going to get good overnight. It's going to take years because the market tends to move in cycles, firstly. And secondly, the beautiful thing is one thing that works, one strategy that works in a current financial year might just flop the next year. Exactly. And then again, work the year after that. There are times in the market when breakouts are proliferating. You buy a breakout, you're going to make money. But there are times when breakouts just won't make you money and you'll have to get to something more conservative called pocket volumes. Okay. This is something discussed in a book. A disciple of O'Neill wrote it, and I think it was a beautiful concept. So different strategies exist, and you can't keep changing your strategy. So you've got to be very patient. So the mindset you come to the market with is, this is going to take time, but I'm going to persevere and I'm here to stay. And honestly, I don't think anyone should quit their job and get to trading. That would be very foolish. Yeah. But like you have a wife, it's a bad analogy, but okay, have a mistress. Trading can be your mistress. and your job, your profession can be your wife, pay some attention here as well, because you don't know how magical things can be in a while. It's a bad analogy, but you get my point. Your wife is not going to appreciate this.
I'm sure when spouses see this, they'll have some thoughts of their.
They'll have some, at least I made them think, you know.
I'll give her a heads up that this is one quote which is coming up. So yeah, relate to it. But yeah, learning is one pretty essential part, right? And when you started, Karan, right? Did you started like a full-fledged trader, or you thought I'll invest, I'll take my time, I'll analyze stocks, or you thought you'll get into intraday trading and stuff? What is your profile basically when it comes to investing?
See, I started putting money into the markets and being exposed to it around 2013, like I said, which was first year of law school for me.
Yeah.
Because that 1 year in DU ended up being a gap year, sort of. So I was putting money into the markets and getting exposed to stocks and researching and looking at PE ratios and reading Graham and being inspired by Warren Buffett. So I was exposed to the markets, but it's only after I came back home after my job in Chandigarh that I heavily got into technical analysis.
Okay.
I would always look at stories because I'd read Peter Lynch and he's like, look at stories around you. And I think that was a beautiful concept. So in Chandigarh, in Mohali, I think Swaraj Engines has a factory.
Mm-hmm.
So I was working in Chandigarh, but for 1 year, I was staying in Mohali in the outskirts somewhere. So I had a long drive by Chandigarh standards. So I would see tons of Swaraj engine tractors going around. So that inspired me to look at Swaraj Engines as a company.
Okay.
Similarly, I would see those heavy cranes, construction cranes by escorts.
Yeah.
I would post it on my stories. You probably see this crane, but you should probably also see a stock, because that is a marvelous company behind it. And stuff like Maruti and Asian Paints, these were like blue chip names, but I wanted to buy them because I genuinely liked these companies. I liked the way they operated. I liked how reliable Maruti cars tended to be and stuff like that. So I was exposed to the markets, but when it comes to trading, intraday, swing trading, futures and options, technical analysis, price action, all that happened after COVID crash.
COVID, that was a very different scenario altogether, right? Market crashed quite a bit. And I know many people who lost money in terms of, okay, everything is going down. There's no tomorrow, what to do next, right? But then people I know in Mumbai or in my circles, right? They had a very different thought process towards how to approach this particular scenario, right? When there was a, say, 10% dip or a 5% dip, they were just putting money left, right, and center, which actually helped me as well quite a bit in putting my energy in the right direction and not get panicked. It's something, markets are very unknown as well, Karan, right? You never know what's going to happen next. Nobody can predict it. That is one beauty I feel. If everybody knew what's really happening in the market, we all would have been like billionaires and stuff, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
And going to the COVID time, right? You see there's a big surge in number of investors or traders or coming into the stock market, right? There are so many demat accounts which have opened after that. Do you see this trend continuing? What are your thoughts? There is a lot of money which is coming into the markets by retail investors as well, right?
Yeah.
How do you see that playing around into the markets?
So I think definitely people are getting more exposed to the markets. The interest that people took in trading per se, buying individual stocks and selling them around COVID and after that, I think that's plummeted for sure, because people are like, humse nahi ho raha.
Exactly.
Because after COVID, just a skyrocketing rally. No matter what you bought, who you were, you made money. So you thought you could do it as a pastime or as a side hustle. But eventually people realize, okay, this is tougher than what seems. So people have stopped trading as much. But I think the stock market has certainly intrigued everyone. It has certainly intrigued everyone. There are more and more people who are ready for the first time to be exposed to mutual funds. And indexing is an all-time high. I think it's only going to increase. So people are exposed to the markets and they're ready to be exposed. But when it comes to individual stock picking, it's good that people have eased up a bit and realized, and they've become more practical. Like, kuch to hai jo hame samajh nahi aa raha. There's much more to this than meets the eye.
Exactly.
And that certainly is, because like you said, if we understood the markets, all of us would be billionaires. And I like to say, If trading was easy, literally everyone would be a trader.
Exactly.
We wouldn't have lawyers, we wouldn't have engineers. Everybody would be at their desk, logging into TradingView and trading, because it is pretty exciting to make money from these scripts. I like to think of them as speculative scripts that I need to take advantage of in their price movement. So I think, yeah, people are ready to be exposed more and more SIPs, more saving. But when it comes to individual stock picking and trading, I don't think that's going to proliferate like it has in America, for instance.
Exactly. So on this thought, you spoke about mutual funds as well, Karan, right? Especially for beginners, do you think directly coming into the stock market makes sense, or you should take the mutual fund route, do a bit, just play around with a very small quantity in the market, and then start full-fledged? What approach you would suggest for a beginner?
Yeah, I think beginners are very excited to get exposed to the markets and put in their money. And with that, mutual funds are beautiful. Indexing is beautiful because if you believe in corporate India, if you think India as a nation will thrive and survive, then buying Nifty and Sensex makes all the sense. Or Nifty 100 or Nifty 250 or mid cap 250 or small cap. It makes total sense, right? So I say pump in money into these indexes and mutual funds. Now you've got an expose. Now you have blood. You have the taste of blood. Now start reading and start informing yourself. Gain the knowledge, because eventually you'll need the knowledge to gain the experience, and experience will come. And when people say, oh, let me start paper trading, paper trading is when you trade with virtual money.
Exactly.
I really am not a fan of that, because a major part of stock picking is emotions.
Exactly.
Because I could buy a stock today, it fell. The last week, the stock market really tanked, by the way. And I just bought a few positions fresh. I had some fresh positions. I wasn't perturbed because I've been here for a while now. But I can imagine a normal person being perturbed and being all sweaty and their hearts pumping. So you got to control your emotions very, very well, which is similar to fitness, because half the job is nutrition. It's not what you do at the gym or on the treadmill. It's really what you do back home and in the kitchen and in the restaurants that you frequent. So the stock market also tends to be about emotions. You've got to inform yourself. You've got to read as much as possible, and you've got to have a very curious mind. It's so satisfying. It's so scintillating to think, okay, there's this individual out there in Mumbai who has a good track record of picking good companies. If he's buying into a stock, let's say like Safari Industries, which manufactures suitcases, right?
Yeah.
Why is he buying it? It's a well-known company. It's a household name. If he's buying it, there must be something. So let me try and find out what the company is about. When you look at stocks from this perspective, everything becomes interesting. So this is the
two key takeaways I just got from you, right? Look around. You spoke about Swaraj. You spoke about escorts, right? There's inspiration right next to us. Right now, where the property I live in, there's a lot of construction going on as well, right? And by renowned builders, Bangalore is like skyrocketing. Any new, say, apartments which are getting constructed, right? Even at the pre-construction phase, they're getting sold out like pancakes. Last couple of weeks back, I went with my friends to see an apartment, and the salesman didn't have actually time to attend to people. He was so busy, and these are properties worth 2 crores, 3 crores, 3.5 crores. It's like they're selling it for free. People are going. That was a mattress we are seeing across, say, Bangalore as well.
And I'm going to just interrupt you here, because this is a very relatable point. You went to the guy and he didn't have time to attend to you. Yeah. Certainly looks like a lot of business, right?
Exactly.
So no matter if you're a surgeon or a lawyer or a dukandar or a shopkeeper, you should come back and look at realty stocks. Because on ground, if there's so much money being pumped into it, if flats are getting sold out, perhaps there's something going on in the stocks as well.
Exactly.
So you don't have to be a finance guy to look at realty stocks. You can just look around you, then get to the stocks.
Similar case, I saw an Instagram post or somewhere in the news as well, right? People actually lined up at 1 a.m., 2 a.m. for some new property in Pune as well. This is the amount of craze people are having. And post-COVID, this is one trend which I've seen, Karan, as well, right? That people want their own house. I know there's a lot of debate on buy versus rent, which goes on, but seeing that there's a massive change, people do want all the comforts which are there. So interesting, say perspective. You've been there, Karan, since quite some time. You spoke about emotions, which plays a very important role, right? I'm sure there would have been certain ups and downs in your trading or investing journey. Any core examples where you can share your ups, but specifically I'm looking for downs and how you overcome that as well.
I think my ups have always been when I read something and when I studied a concept and when I adequately applied it and it worked. That was always a very exhilarating experience for me because that made me believe in the process. You have to believe in the process to survive as a trader, firstly, and secondly, thrive as a trader. Because if you're constantly in doubt whether this thing even works, I don't think you're going to make it. So I'd read books by Mark Minervini, who's a trader based in America, and he's legendary, right? He talks about trading IPO basis. And there's Benjamin Graham and Warren Buffett who talk that IPOs are initially just made for investors who've built the business.
Exactly.
They even call it insiders private opportunity. So I was never a fan of buying or subscribing for IPOs because so many people did for Paytm and they lost money.
Mama,
but on the other hand,
have you heard about, did you read anything about Mama Earth, which is going on for the IPO?
Yeah. The only thing I've read it has 5 brands or something.
Yeah.
The parent company, Mama Earth being one of them, but it doesn't really produce any of them itself.
Exactly.
So like I say, IPOs don't really intrigue me until they start trading. The day they start trading is when I love to watch them because I love to trade IPO basis. Historically, if you see, and this is something O'Neill talks about, companies that outperform are newer companies that promise new innovation or a new product or a new problem to be solved. So it's always these companies that are outperforming. In America, we had Monster Beverages.
Okay.
It was a household name, but it's an energy drink, Monster Beverages. It outperformed in how? There was Crocs because suddenly people wanted to buy a lot of Crocs. It was in trend, right?
Ugly. not too bad.
Exactly. So I love trading IPOs because they are new companies. A lot of money is being pumped into it. But until an IPO gets listed, I don't really bother with it. I've never subscribed to an IPO in my lifetime. Never.
That's interesting. So that's a different perspective as well. Many people go after IPOs and you get very limited quantity as well if you think about it, right?
If the IPO is going to list very well, I doubt you're going to get much at all.
Exactly, especially like bigger names and all, right? I remember last IPO I subscribed was for HDFC mutual funds. That was the one I bid for. Got very nominal quantity. Which
HDFC AMC.
mutual fund. So
okay.
something
asset management.
I bid for.
Yeah, I mean IPOs have never intrigued me. Honestly, I don't like anything that has a jackpot element to it. I want something that can be done again and again. Because if I make a killing, let's say on one IPO, that's not going to make me wealthy.
Exactly. Yeah.
How many IPOs do I need to crack to build wealth? On the other hand, with long-term investments and with trading price action, I know I can repeat this over and over again, churn my money and build wealth. So for so many reasons, IPOs just don't intrigue me at all. And retail investors love going after IPOs. ये इतने पे list हो जाएगा, अगले दिन बेच देना. That sort of mentality just doesn't work for me. I'm here to stay. I don't want to do anything at all that makes me scared of sitting on this chair. Because once you get scared of the stock market, and how will you get scared? If you take a ruinous loss. If you take a loss so massive that it shakes the very core of being a person, that's when you're like, oh, I want to stay away from the stock market. So I don't want to do anything in life that gets me to that level, which is also why I don't want to overspeed. Because the reward versus risk is skewed. The reward is reaching my destination 15 minutes jaldi. But the risk is horrible. So it doesn't make sense, In the stock market, the same thing. If you take blind bets and huge outlandish investments that you don't understand, and if you invest in penny stocks, the reward is, you're going to find an Adani Power that just does upper circuits for a while. But the risk is you're going to lose everything.
100%.
And lose everything, paisa gaya, it's fine. The money will come back. What about this? If you lose confidence, if you lose the grit, that is not going to get built anytime soon. And that's something you should preserve.
You need peace of mind as well at the end of the day, Karan, right? Once
Yeah.
initially, my style of I won't say trading. I never traded apart from there was a phase in my life. I would say, right. I started doing FNO, but that was not having any strategy, not having any say knowledge about any company. What I used to do, switch on my TV at 8 o'clock, hear what's going on. 9:15 tips started coming in, right? And I work full time as well. So what I used to do, like place say a FNO bet either for a day or for like 10-15 days or less than that. There was one specific trade I remember. I started for office. I placed the trade while I was traveling. Then I had a training to take, right? And when I started, the stock was doing good. When I finished the training that day, the training day, I was 80,000 down. Right?
Right.
Because I didn't see the screen. Something really weird happened with the results, which was not expected, or technically which was not shown in the TV. And that was one fine day I stopped looking at the TV tips that buy this, buy that. That anxiety, I just cut out that noise after all that, right? So that really helped me quite a bit after that. So what are your thoughts on this TV trading? You get a lot of CTV anchors or experts in the market, right? And any thoughts you have on that particular area?
No, I think it's horrible to rely on the television. You don't even need to switch the television on to be a trader. I don't think you need to own a television, honestly. Reading books naturally and being updated with the newspaper is actually quite enough. But with the television, these people coming on there giving tips, if they were so good and if their tips were so reliable, they wouldn't have the time to be on television. They'd be busy making money.
Exactly.
So television is something you should not rely on. And even as an extension of television, a lot of people on Instagram DM me, can you give us tips? Koi tip bata do. Firstly, I'm not authorized to give tips. I'm not SEBI registered. Secondly, I always try and inform them, guys, develop your own conviction, because that gives you a supreme level of confidence. If someone on CNBC has said buy lemon tree,
Yeah,
I buy lemon tree, it goes up 5%, then it tanks 15%. I'm all over the place because I can't connect with the guy again. Even if I can, who is he to give me honest advice? But if I have developed conviction in myself, if I look at hotel stocks as a whole, if I look at the entire sector and I know things are looking good, everyone wants a staycation these days for some reason after COVID. Everyone from their father to their grandmother to the kids, everyone wants to go stay in hotels. So, and the hotel stocks are performing like Kamath Hotels, Lemon Tree, Chalet Hotels. So, you tend to think there's something here, even though the stock has tanked 10%, let me stick around. So when you have your conviction, it'll be easy to stay around. But when you're borrowing conviction, it's recipe for stress. And bahut stress hai life mein. Why do you want to add another thing to it?
I totally agree. Like do not do something in stock market or in life which you do not have control upon, right? Especially I can hear to your particular tip, but I don't know when did you get out, right? You might make an Instagram story afterwards that this is what I did, and you're not advising anyone, right? You're just sharing your thoughts. You're just sharing your experience. Cupid is one good example. I saw on your Instagram story, and then you gave an update as well. That was your conviction. That was your study per se, right? It's not like blindly you went out and then said something. So that is something I really liked in terms of your approach. Then what has been your biggest, best trade, Karan, in your life, which you can recall as of now?
So before I get to my best trade, I'm going to just mention Cupid.
Yeah.
And the way I know Cupid since a while, actually. Since a while. The way I know about it is because I love hearing stories about stocks.
Yeah.
At the very minimum, what does a company do? I want to know about it. So Cupid was one of the first companies to manufacture, I think the only Indian company, I could be wrong, but the only listed player that manufactures female condoms.
Exactly. Yeah.
लोगों को तो पता ही नहीं है फीमेल कॉन्डम्स भी होते, तो उन्हें क्यूपिड के बारे में क्या?
Many people do not know that as well, right? So
people don't know this, and knowing things like these really excites me. And that's what I put on my Instagram as well. That, okay, you're working a job, you're a very hardworking person, you get stuck in traffic, you want to relax on weekends. Let me tell you what Cupid does. And my goal of telling you on my Instagram is so that you can at least add it to your watch list. And solely based on price action, I invested in Cupid. I traded it to say. And yeah, you've seen the performance. The market tanked last week, and last week Cupid rose 100%.
Okay.
And it's all based on the movement of money. As far as the best trade that I would say has been IIFL for me, the finance company. And this was right after COVID because I like to read. I have an academic bent of mind, I would say. I don't mind sitting around with books. I had this book that I downloaded online called an Encyclopedia of Chart Patterns.
Okay.
So it discusses all chart patterns, and it discusses, more importantly, the psychology behind these chart patterns. So when a head and shoulders forms on the charts, why is it forming? Why does it form over and over again in so many stocks? Because stocks are behaving according to human emotions.
Exactly.
Every chart pattern conveys emotion. It conveys mass mentality on your screen, which is why it's so much fun reading it. An X-ray is very different to an intern, a medical intern, but it's very different to a doctor who's been 30 years into the profession. It's the same sheet, but what they interpret is so very different. And I like to think charts are also quite similar in that way. If you're jumping into the stock market, you look at it differently. I'm like 6 years in or 5 years in. I look at it kind of differently, but somebody who's been 40 years in, Mark Minervini, the stuff he sees, I cannot see it right now.
Exactly.
And this is something that makes you humble. It makes you hungry for more, but it also humbles you that no matter who you are always subservient to Mr. Market. The forces of the market are supreme. Don't fight them, no matter who you are, no matter how much money you have, right? So the best trade, coming back to that, was IIFL. I was reading the book and I saw a reversal ascending triangle forming on the charts right during COVID when the market was bottoming. And it looked picture perfect. It looked clean. And the first point I want to take from this, and everyone should take from this, is I love clean patterns. I don't like noise. I don't like a lot of room for debate. If something looks picture perfect, then I'm more convinced to enter it. So IIFL formed a picture perfect ascending triangle, had a very nice breakout, which was again picture perfect. And this is the second point. First is look for clean patterns. Secondly, look for a nice solid breakout. Breakouts that seem iffy, I don't like them a lot. I like solid breakouts. Had a nice solid breakout. After that, it rose for 2 days. I was out of the, I was so happy. And then it started falling, which was lesson number 3, that stocks often retest. A stock that breaks out is not always going to go up. It might spend some time sideways. It might correct, come back to the former resistance, or it might fail. You have to be ready for each possibility. You have to visualize what you're going to do in each of these possibilities. In any case, the stock retested. And after this, it spent around 5 to 6 weeks at the resistance.
Okay. Testing your patience.
So testing my patience, it formed a tight flag. Now, beautiful part about this flag is, again, it was picture perfect. The volume was really diminished. Every day when I got in the evening at my computer to research my positions, I looked at the characteristics of a tight flag, of an ascending breakout, everything, right? Everything looked okay. So I wasn't concerned. This was a blessing in disguise because as the flag got tighter, I kept adding to my position. And once the stock broke out of this flag is when I took my final position, which also taught me the lesson of pyramiding. Okay. Is as the stocks goes up and forms successive bases, you want to buy more instead of selling. And as your stock falls, you want to sell instead of buying, which is how price action traders operate. So in any case, this ended up making my position, I think, upwards of 25 lakh rupees in one stock, right? Everything looked good, so I was happy about it. And then I think it just rose so tremendously in upper circuit. I think within, I want to say, within 40 days, the stock was up 150%. And the best part is, it was up 150% without really scaring anyone. So again, which is point number 6, I don't like stocks that give crazy shakeouts. I like shakeouts when I'm not invested in them. Otherwise, everyone likes a stock na jo halke halke upar jata jaye aur daraye na. Because agar stock gira, dara ke upar aa gaya, that is a perfect opportunity to buy more, which is what Cupid did a while back. It fell 10% intraday and closed higher for the day. So it recovered 10%. So I'm like, this is a nice shakeout. All the weak players are out.
Exactly.
The very next day, the stock fell 9% again. Now I was concerned. I was very concerned. But the very next day, the stock tended to go sideways and recover. So I'm like, okay, things are fine. And then it just skyrocketed from there. So a lot of lessons from this. Whatever stock you trade, don't trade it with virtual money. Trade it with some money that causes you a little bit of pain. Your emotions need to be involved. For some people, that's going to be 5,000 rupees. For some people, that's going to be 50,000. I don't care what the amount is because we're working with percentages.
Exactly. Yeah.
You know, how much did you make this year? We don't say मैंने 5,000 कमाई या 50 lakh कमाई. We talk about percentages. Did I outperform the market or not?
Exactly.
Every trade you take, whether it's a loss, whether it's a gain, try and understand what really went down, note it down. And if you're in this market long enough, you're going to have this rich encyclopedia and you're going to see yourself evolve, which is what Instagram is. When I look at my old videos, I'm like, wow, dude, that's cringe. What was I thinking? But if I didn't make that old video, I wouldn't be here today.
Exactly. Yeah.
You have to fall in love with the process. I was watching 2 YouTube videos, one on Chris Bumstead, who's a bodybuilder, and one about Dhoni. He was doing some podcast or some interview with the Sharan, Finance at Sharan, all these guys.
Yep.
Both, it's so interesting. Both spoke about being in love with the process. Result kisi ko nahi pata, Dhoni ko bhi nahi pata tha he'll become so big.
100%. Nobody knows.
He loved the process each and every day. He worked hard each and every day without really thinking of the results.
Exactly.
And that's the, I think, mentality with which you need to approach the stock markets as well. Success to kisi cheez mein guaranteed nahi hai. If you study law today, you start going to the courts, you start interning, are you guaranteed to become a really good lawyer? I don't think so. And even in law, much like other professions, it's only the 1% that are taking in 99% of the money.
Exactly. Exactly.
And the remaining are struggling. I've seen it firsthand. So it looks like a very glorious and amazing profession, but the reality is always similar, like everything, even in business, even in surgeons, doctors. So yeah, that was my best trade and a great example. And let me tell you about my worst trade. That was Lupin, because during COVID, again, this pharma sector was booming. I missed out on every rally. Then Lupin gave a breakout from a base. It was a late stage base. I bought a lot, one lot, right? I think 7.5 lakh ka tha. It started tanking.
Okay.
Then I'm like, oh, it'll recover. Hopes. Never rely on hopes. It just kept tanking. I think I took a loss of 3.5 lakhs on that.
Any stop loss or just all out?
So no, initially it was no stop loss because I was a wild person. I was just doing something. But the good part is my dad really didn't give me a lot of flack for it. And he's like, no problem, just don't do it again, stuff like that. So I think that level of support was very important. Because I was honest about it, that I messed up. I didn't say the market did me wrong. It was me.
Yeah.
Market didn't do me. My fault. Gave me an important lesson. I think everyone needs these lessons, and you look at these lessons. I do, of course, work with stop losses, but I don't have strict stop losses. So William O'Neill, these guys say 7 to 10%, cut it. But recently, stocks have been so volatile. If you cut at 10%, you'll never make money.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
And stop losses are very, they revolve around zones. TV pe kya kehte hai? 620 target, 600 stop loss. That is the worst advice. What if the stock comes to 599.50 and then bounces?
Goes back. Exactly. Yeah.
And goes back 600 pe to cut gaya na. And whatever bid you've put, smart money can see your bids, by the way. Your bids are visible.
Exactly.
Ki 600 pe kitne buyers hai or 601 pe kitne sellers hai. They know it. That's how they shake you out. So I think stop losses are levels that you need to get comfortable with. Honestly, this is a game of experience. The more you trade, the more knowledge you obtain, the more you follow that Seek Investor, I think the better you'll get.
Now, your Instagram channel, you spoke about your earlier videos, but when I was just going through your profile, right, it has evolved quite a bit, Karan, right? Well done on your Instagram channel. It's really amazing. And to the viewers, I'll share the link on in the description. Do follow Karan on that. You'll be amazed with the content which is there, right? Last few questions, Karan, right? You you had your experience, and one of the reasons I wanted to speak to you is that you can share your experience, right? What would be the top three tips for the people who have either started or are in the stock market at this particular point of time?
Honestly, the tip would be just keep educating yourself, have an open mind, stay humble, stay hungry. And so many people have come before us and made tons of money.
Yeah,
Let's give them due respect and see what they're saying and why they're saying it. Learn from your history because history repeats itself. The stock market is all about human emotions on the charts. So even if you're a fundamental investor, that's superb. You'll make money. Long-term investment trading, try and develop knowledge of the charts. The price action is really going to assist you, and come with a patient mindset, because this is not something that's going to make you rich overnight. You might, make a lot of money in a short period of time, which is what some investors did with AMC in
yeah,
America.
yeah,
The stock was heavily shorted, it blasted, a lot of people became millionaires overnight. That might happen to you as well, but you want to have sufficient skills so that you can keep repeating it. And secondly, approach this with utter honesty, because don't lie to yourself. Tell yourself, I know nothing, but I want to know. I want to figure this out. And along the way, I will help as many people as I can, and I will inspire people. And I think the impact you'll create is beautiful, because today it is so easy to stand out.
exactly.
Social media, everyone's dressing up the same. Now those baggy fits are in.
Yeah,
Everyone wants to dress up the same. Everyone suddenly wants to wear sneakers. And that's not wrong, by the way. I also wear sneakers. My point is, people are becoming clones of one another.
exactly.
Whatever the YouTube algorithm will feed me as songs, I'll listen to them. And chances are my friends are also listening to the same songs.
Yep.
So my point is, it's very easy to stand out. Do things that make you stand out in life. And very simple things like persistence and pronunciation will make you stand out. Pronunciation is so basic yet so huge, so huge. You could say, and I'm not hating on anybody. People have different cards dealt to them in life, but whatever cards you have dealt, I think you can work with it. Some can work a lot, some can work lesser, some have coaches and mentors,
Yep.
some have lesser. But I think keep self-improving, because trading has been equated to professional games, professional sports, actually, which is why most of these hedge funds in New York, they have performance coaches in-house.
Exactly. Yeah.
Is how do you defeat the market when you already feel defeated? Even if you feel defeated, it's kind of easier to go open a shop and sell your goods for a profit and order more stock from the supplier. And I'm not hating on shopkeepers. I think it's a beautiful job and some are millionaires. But with trading, you've got to have this area very strong, very steely. And that comes from lifestyle, from discipline, from clean eating, from sleeping well. You've got to sleep soundly at night to be able to perform as a trader, because it's a lot of sitting and staring at the screen, messes up your posture so
Yeah.
much. So tons of information influx. It just makes you a better human if you want to be a better trader. It goes hand in hand. It's a virtuous cycle. Become a better trader, become a better human, in turn become a better trader.
It's a wonderful thought, Karan, right? And that takes me to my next question. You spoke about physical game is a different aspect, and mentally you need to be strong as well
Yeah,
in the markets, right? You have a very, I would say, strict routine in terms of going to the gym, working on your fitness. Can you just
yeah,
elaborate how do you manage to do that? Plus, I've been following a 75-day hard challenge. It's simply amazing. I would say that has inspired me as well to go back. I lost quite a lot of weight during COVID. I lost about 20 kgs walking daily for more than 10,000 steps. But that was back in my hometown, my mom pushed me quite a lot for doing that. But once I came back to Bangalore, my lifestyle again got changed. But off late, I've been following your videos. Plus, that has motivated me as well, right? So thanks for sharing that. First of
yeah.
all, any reflections on your 75-day challenge, your fitness? How do you manage to do that?
The way I managed to do it is, and honestly, I think I'm lazier than most people, to be honest. I am not built different. I'm actually built subpar, I would say. And my major victory in life was when I realized this, that I am a lazy person, but I need to set systems in place so that I can work around it, so that I can conquer this, which is point number one, which I also read in a book, I think called Psycho Cybernetics. In that book, I read that don't set goals. Goals are very vague and far into the future. Set systems. So now a person might have a goal, मुझे 6 बजे उठना है.
Yep.
If अब इतना अच्छा goal है, तो why is everyone failing? Why are 90% failing with it? Instead, set a system that once your alarm goes off, you're not going to negotiate with yourself. It is this negotiation that is the root of all evil. Because when you wake up, you're like 5 minute or that's negotiation number one. है ना? Second negotiation is geyser on कर देता हूँ, I'll get back in bed. जब तक पानी गर्म होगा, I'll relax. You know, all these are negotiations. So point number one is no negotiating. Get up, get water on your face, whatever works for you. For me, what works is I start brushing jaldi se. Because I think that chemical in the toothpaste, you know, that minty feeling, it sort of wakes you up. Even though your eyes are sleepy, the freshness in the mouth tends to wake you up. I realize it works for me. Might not work for everyone, but I think it's worth trying it, na? So do that. Get out of bed and stop negotiating. It's this one thing that is spoiling everything. And trust me, I don't feel like going to the gym every day. I was just telling my trainer the other day that out of 7 days that I work out, probably 2 to 3, I just don't feel like it. And this is consistent, by the way. So it doesn't get easier. You just have to keep exercising the power of discipline. Ki man nahi hai na, jana to hai hi.
Exactly.
So do the next micro task. Wear your shoes. Tie the laces. Micromanage your tasks until you're in the gym. You know, now for me, I have to walk to the car where my car is parked. It's like garden ke us side pe. Honestly, that walk is one of the hardest parts of my day because I'm like, oh man, leg day. And I know what's going to come. But I'm like, okay, just focus on the walk, one task at a time. Now just drive to the gym. And before you know it, it's done. I love it. But most days I don't feel like it. And that's the irony. You're not going to feel like doing what you want to do, what you have to do every day. Things get boring, things get mundane, especially in this Instagram reel sort of environment where you get dopamine hits all the time.
Yep.
Try and internalize that life tends to be boring. Yeah, it's okay. Mundane tasks, when done consistently, will yield beautiful results. And this is something I got from a book called The Slight Edge. Marvelous book, simply written. I think everyone should read it. It just talks about the power of simple things done every day, which we tend to discount. जैसे आज एक बर्गर खाया, आज तो कुछ नहीं करेगा वो तुम्हें, कल भी खा लिया कुछ नहीं करेगा, अगले महीने भी खा लिया कुछ नहीं करेगा. But if you keep eating burgers for 20 years, 21st year, and this is just an estimate, something will go wrong, and then you'll be like, इतना क्या गलत हो गया, इतना थोड़िया खाता हूं मैं. But वो 20 साल का, it was compounding but negatively. We want to take actions so thode bahut that compound but positively, because compounding is working every time. Now today I'm doing this YouTube video with you on a Zoom call. This is also compounding. I'm building relations. I'm getting to know someone at the other end of the screen. I could spend this time watching some trashy TV show. In this case, something is compounding for the better. In that case, something is compounding for the worse. And these changes are so tiny, minuscule on a daily basis that we don't realize it until one fine day. You're like, oh man, where did all that time go?
That's a very beautiful thought about compounding, Karan, right? Like I work for a big four, right? My schedule is pretty hectic. Like audit, I work in the audit field, right? So it's quite it's quite hectic. It takes sometimes a bit of toll, but I'm into a lot of innovation, automation as well, right? So I like to cut corners, do things more fast. But this something is it's one of my hobbies now, right? Which I had in mind for quite some time, but then one day one of my friends, he actually helped me in taking this plunge. I was in Copenhagen with him. He was like, we were having wine at a very beautiful place, and he was like, why don't you share your knowledge? You have so many followers on LinkedIn. Why don't you grow this? Share your ACCA experience. You'll get to meet new people as well, right? And people do ask me, why do I do it, or where do I get time in this? This is one classic example, right? It compounds. These days, I network quite a lot, right? And it's helping me build new relations, speak to new people. I got different perspective about the markets today from you, right? I never was a believer till date in terms of technical analysis or whatever, right? But I hear a very different side from you today, right? This actually works. If that has worked for you, it would have worked for somebody else. So why not me? So one definitely and key takeaway or improvement in myself would be why can't I learn these technical analysis as well, right? So that's something I'm going to do post this session. Once this ends, definitely I'll divert my energy towards that particular side. But this is great, Karan, right? Got a lot of tips from you, how to be focused, how to stay well connected with your family. That played a very important role in your journey. You have two wonderful pets as well, Gabba and Koinka. I see a lot of their videos. They're almost there in every video I see, right? How's your how does your day pass with them? Can you imagine yourself without having them around?
Yeah, it's a beautiful thing, but another thing that wakes me up in the morning is to do justice to them.
Yeah.
Because the entire house is working on their fitness, but what about these kids? They can't go on a walk themselves, and we have to do it for them. So I have this immense sense of fulfillment when I know I've done justice to my dogs, and they're golden retrievers, so they need a lot of exercise. And if I get them and keep them in the confines of my house, that would be such a grave injustice to them. लाना ही नहीं चाहिए था ना फिर तो. Why did you get these creatures? अब लाए हो to do justice to them. So these virtuous actions again lead to more virtuous actions. Like, they say na amir amir banta hai. Wealth begets wealth. One virtuous action leads to the other. If you've come back from a morning walk, you'll feel like having a healthy drink. Trust me, you won't feel like having pakoras because you've just done something for your body. However, on the other hand, if you've just gotten out of bed, you'd be like, kuch meetha ho jaye, or like cold coffee pee lete hain, dher sari chini ke saath. So, one virtuous thing will lead to the other. And last thing I want to say is that it's a beautifully they say that these muscles that you have, if you stop going to the gym, they're going to go away. So they are on low, and which is similar for willpower and discipline. If you don't exercise these muscles, they will also erode over time. So keep exercising them. And Huberman did a podcast saying the best way to develop willpower is to do things that are hard.
Exactly.
That's the key to willpower. And the main learning from that is that aisa nahi hai, willpower ban gaya, I'm good. No. It needs to be exercised every day. It needs to be consistent. So I'm going to start phase 1 of 75 Hard in December, which is a 30-day program. And one of the requirements is bathe with cold water. I have showered with hot water 365 days a year in my life. And to do this with cold water is going to be hard.
Yeah.
But what am I scared of? Thanda pani dekhi jayegi, we'll do it. How bad is it going to be? 30 days I'll manage.
No, that's super good, Karan, right? I wish you the best for your future, your trading journey. I'm sure we'll be connected after this as well, right? Any closing thoughts, how people can reach out to you? I'll definitely warn them, not just Karan, give me some tips, give me some stock tips or something, but anything if they want to learn about you, how they can get in touch with you. I recently saw a LinkedIn, Instagram post where you met a group of people as well, right? Do you do these meetups quite often?
Yeah. So my goal in life also, because I want to make an impact. I just don't want wealth and money and fame. I want to make an impact. And a big part of that is getting like-minded people together. People from all walks of life, all age groups. I want to get them together. We want to talk about life. We want to talk about mindful living, discipline, fitness, stock market, whatever is your jam. Let's get together and talk. We did this in Delhi. 22 people turned up. 120 said they're interested, by the way. Only 22 came, which is honestly, I expected 2. 22 came. It was beautiful, very humbling, very heartwarming. So I'm going to keep doing this in different cities. I'm going to do one in my city, naturally, Dehradun. I'm going to do one in Chandigarh. And then depending on how it goes, maybe one in Mumbai. So I want to get people together.
Bangalore is a good option as well.
Bangalore is certainly a good option. I've been there once. So you see, if you want to go drinking tonight, it's very easy to find a friend.
Partner, yeah.
Let's go to a brewery. Bangalore is good for breweries. Let's go grab a beer. You'll find 20 people. But tell me, it's somebody, like, yo, let's go for a run. How many people can you gather right now? And which is the opposite. It should be the opposite, right? Because one is like, and I think drinking with friends is a lot of fun, but not every Saturday. Yeah? Why should Indians only have restaurants and cafes when they want to chill, or movies?
Exactly. Yeah.
Better facilities, more parks, outdoorsy stuff. So I want to get people together so they can DM me. And if they're in any of these cities, we're going to meet up in person, or else I'm going to do Zoom calls with like a bunch of people and we can get together. I think we are going to build a community. But the best way is get to my Instagram and let's start a dialogue, because if you DM me, I will respond to you, even if it takes 2 or 3 days.
Exactly. And then thanks for replying back to my DM as well.
Oh,
Honestly,
yeah.
I didn't expect a reply back from you, but thanks a ton for this wonderful session, Karan, right? And it's amazing to
Thank you.
learn from your journey. And I hope the viewers will also take back a lot of things about investing, fitness, family, pets. So lots of things we learned from you. So thanks a ton, Karan, and looking
Thank
forward to
you.
see you in person someday.
Okay. Have a good one. Enjoy the performance of your
Yep.
daughter's Bharatanatyam.
Yeah, definitely, Karan. Thanks a lot, Karan.
Okay.
Enjoy the gym as well now. Take care. Bye.